Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Money Mondays. We are on with you tonight with some really good content. I see you guys are popping on, so we are going to let everybody get in the room here. So we will let everyone pop in, and then we will get started in just a moment. I'm going to be sharing my screen this evening, and I've got some new content for you guys that I'm excited to share. All right, so let's go ahead and get going. This is being recorded, so if for some reason you missed a part of it or we get somebody late, we will have this, of course, up on my YouTube channel. This is Money Mondays. If you are a guest tonight, we do this every Monday, and we have some really great topics coming up. Next week, we have landing pages, teaching you all about how to do landing pages using some great technology. It is not just a Google form anymore. I want you to think a little bit more outside the box. We've got some great technology if you're at our office for that. And let's go ahead and get started with tonight's presentation, though. So we did one a few weeks back called Give Yourself a Raise. And we were talking about different ways to work smarter, not harder. Tonight, we're going to talk about teams giving yourself a break. So let's dive right in here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And hopefully now you guys can see that. We will have time for Q&A at the end of this. I did a version of this presentation years ago. And when I did this the first time, I really thought only about people that needed to build a team in terms of their own sales. So I kind of put us in, I think, a little bit too much of a box, when in reality, at EXIT, we have the opportunity to build a team, whether you need to personally build one or whether you want to mentor and bring other people into the company. So I've expanded that. So some of these slides are new, some of these are revised, and I think this is going to be a really great way to get everybody involved. We're going to talk a little bit more about that vision later. So let's dive right in. So first of all, is it time for you to build a team? So as far as a sales team for yourself, and I've been doing my own sales team for, I think, 16 years now of the 23, almost 24 I've been in business. I've had to do it from time to time because of my own workload, or now, of course, coaching and doing other things with EXIT. So for some of you, you are ready to build a team. Some of you may not be in terms of a sales team for yourself. I don't want you to be saying, oh, I need to build a team because of vanity, because everybody wants to feel like they have a team around them, when in reality, we all have a team around us in terms of the support staff and coaching and the tools at EXIT. So we'll talk a little bit about leverage later, but this is to give yourself time back. And whether that's time for yourself for family, whether it's time for yourself for more prospecting, which is really the way it should be, because the reality is, if you're going to build a sales team around your own sales, you are going to be taking money out of your pocket. So I want to emphasize that you can sponsor and mentor without building a team that's going to take away from your own sales. So there's two different types of teams now, if you think about this, in terms of a sales team that's going to, and I'm actually going to, these slides are editable, so I'm going to change that later. I think I'm going to put that word sales right there. You can sponsor into the company if you haven't hit a certain threshold. My magic threshold for needing to build a team is capping out. So at our office, we take you to 100% commission for the rest of the year. When you hit 100,000 GCI, that's gross commission income. I feel like that's right around the perfect time for you to build a team. You're probably getting really busy. You are feeling probably at that point, when you're on your own, that you're running ragged, that you may not be doing the best job for your client. But if you're not at that $100,000 GCI point yet, you haven't capped out, maybe you just need to restructure your own time. Better time blocking, staying on task, using the resources around you. Some of the agents that I coach, they talk about their marketing. They say, well, I really need help with my marketing. And then we find out they're not using the CRM. They're not using Zenlist. For those of us at our office, they're running around trying to get their clients into the same properties everybody else is looking at, when in reality, Zenlist could get you into more. Also, it allows you to not have to set up the MLS searches because the clients can choose all their own criteria, which has saved me countless hours on my own. And also you can sit there right at I keep saying stoplight when I do these trainings. I don't want you at a stoplight doing this, but you can pull over to the side of the road and schedule all your showings through Zenlist too. But you also want to make a list of what is holding you back in terms of time. So if you think it's time for you to build a team, what I need you to do in order to coach you, we're going to talk later again about what I'm going to do to help you with this. What I need you to do is make a list of what is holding you back. I did it many, many years ago. And by the way, I built my teams the wrong way. For a long time, I was structuring mine the wrong way. A lot of what are on these slides are actually from personal examples, pain points for me that I've learned the wrong way and then had to figure out how to do it the right way. I'm coached, as a lot of you know, by a company called The Core Training. I strongly believe that they have the best training for building teams. A lot of this content I've learned from them and then implemented my own sales team. So you need to make a list of what's holding you back. I did it in my phone in my Apple Notes, and I continue to do it. Every time I feel too busy, I start in expanding my team and expanding the resources that I use. A lot of my conversations the past year have been about tools with you guys. Some of the tools that I use now and buy for you at Exit Strategy are because of me making this list of here's what's driving me nuts. And is it something that you're going to need time back, motivation to do? Is it a tool or a technology so you don't have to spend the money on a team in terms of what a team costs you? We're going to have a whole slide on that. So why even build a team? Because I just kind of poo-pooed on the whole idea. Well, first off, if you want more free time to focus on dollar producing activities, Mike, I'm going to go ahead and mute you. But thank you for being here, my friend. So you want more free time to focus on dollar producing activities. That's the reason why the majority of us are building a team, because we want to make more money, right? If we want to make more money, we're going to have to build a team around us. Once we hit a certain threshold, again, I recommend it's 100,000 GCI. For some of you that maybe have family obligations going on, we're going to talk about some other options for you as well tonight. This is going to be a very wide-ranging team conversation. But a team is going to help you delegate the things that don't make you money, taking time away from your dollar-producing activities. So networking, prospecting. If you're out running around with buyers incessantly, or doing a ton of listing appointments and CMAs, you may not have the opportunity to do some other networking, some maybe just sold cards, or maybe it's getting your CRM up and running. What is it that you need to do that you're not doing now? That's going to go in that list we talked about on the first slide. A team can get you back down to 40 hours a week of focused high-level activity. So what does that look like? In my business, I am having Tabern, that a lot of you guys know, from our office. Tabern works for me and does my scheduling of my showings. He gets the PDFs together because I'm old school and I still print them out for my clients. I still take my clients out. We're going to talk about some things I did wrong later. I still take my clients out, but sometimes Tabern takes them out. We balance that out between the two of us. I do my own listing presentations. I believe strongly that when people pick you, they want to see you. They want to see your face. But a lot of the behind the scenes paperwork, like the listing agreements, the addendums, the disclosures, all that kind of stuff goes through Tabern. So I'm then able to go to networking events, sit down at dinners, put together VIP events like I did at my house on Thursday night with some really special people. I was able to do that to leverage my time for the highest and best use, which is prospecting. So that is what we want to say there. But what type of team is right for you? And this is something that I've continued to expand the last couple of years in terms of my definition of a team. So the first type of team is probably the one that very few people are going to do, and that is a partnership. That's when two people come together and say, you know what, we're both generating leads. We kind of had the same style. Maybe it's two part-time agents. Maybe it's two new moms or new mom and a new dad that have a limited amount of time. And you're going to come into this together and say, we're going to split marketing costs. We're going to split revenue. We're going to hold each other accountable and do a 50-50 split or something like that. Equal strengths, not one person is a rainmaker of leads. It's very rare to see a team like this. If you think of big teams and you see the pictures, there's the one person in the middle that's the Rainmaker. So this partnership is only appropriate for two people who are part-time or have those family obligations, and it's just not, you're not able to do everything you need to do. Most of our part-time agents, I'm able to coach you on how to get your business done, your prospecting done quickly using our technology so that you're able to, on nights and weekends, be a part-time agent. I feel like I'm a part-time agent at this point. So if I can do it, you can do it. And I was the first 3 years in the business way back in the day, a part-time agent with a full-time job and still in school. So I feel you if you feel stressed, but let's talk about leveraging what you've got versus taking money away from yourself. A partnership, it's a 50-50 split. That's a lot of trust. The much more common type of team is a Rainmaker. That is when you are, again, probably at that 100,000 or above level. So you're thinking at our office, Wayne Beals, Josh, Heather, Cheryl, these top agents, they are the Rainmaker. When they're making it rain, think of the songs, they're making it rain. What does that mean? They have a dominant force of lead generation, and they don't have the time to service all the leads. Again, they don't have the time to service all the leads. If you are truly maximizing your time and you still don't have the time to service all your leads, it's time to build the team. Otherwise, why are you taking money out of your pocket? The team leader is going to hold the team accountable. The driving force behind marketing, also, they're the ones paying for any marketing. So just sold cards, networking events, lead generation, anything like that, that Rainmaker is going to be bringing that in. Here's the new one, mentor. Maybe you are, and again, we've got a great, a couple examples of that in our office, people that mentor, but they really don't want to split their business. Maybe they don't have enough business. Maybe they don't have any business at all. Did you know Mike Schulte actually is not a licensed agent? However, he is an amazing team builder. He's an amazing attractor to exit. He makes a 6-figure residual income. I do as well. Marky Lemons is a great example of that. You can be a mentor and an attractor to exit. This is the only company that works like this. And you can make a 6-figure income. I'm living proof. Mike's on this call is living proof. There are other people that are doing it right here under our roof. We're living that dream as a mentor. And you don't have to give away your own commissions if you're not busy enough to truly need to do so. So I hope that makes sense. And I also want to really bring some people back to the table that they're like, well, I don't need to build a team, but you're also not sponsoring and attracting. So you're missing out on part of exit. I want to encourage you to be a mentor and an attractor. So, but for those of us that are here on this about specifically the team building, about sales, about your sales team, who would you hire? Let's talk about unlicensed versus licensed for the Rainmaker model. And again, there's a new showing agent model within the Rainmaker model. So unlicensed assistants, that's going to be someone that they're on an hourly wage or a salary. That means tax implications for you. How are you going to pay them? That's a big deal. If you pay somebody $600 a year or more, you have to 1099 them, or they've got to be on W-2. I am not a tax consultant, so please contact yours. I did do a $15 an hour originally person as an unlicensed assistant. Look into the virtual services. That is another option for you for unlicensed assistants. They already probably have a 1099 set up. You don't need to do payroll taxes. You can also share them with other realtors. They're going to be working as a business. They know the business. So if you need transaction help, that's an option. My biggest issue with unlicensed assistants, they can't do very much. So licensed team members, they're more expensive, but number one, depending on how you're paying them, and you're probably going to pay them the way we're recommending here, there's no overhead between closings. You're not closing deals, they're not making any money, okay? They're only taking a portion of commissions in most cases. They're motivated to help you close more deals, not just get an hourly wage, so they're going to kind of be pushing you back. Tabron is now, he went from an hourly wage to he is on a split with me on my deals that I share with him. Let me tell you how motivated that guy is to make sure that I close deals. He's all over me for feedback and trying to help the client make sure that they want to go out and see property or get their property listed and maybe staged properly. Biggest part of this though, should be in giant bold letters. It's not. The third bullet point, they can do more tasks due to being licensed. They can show properties. Oh man, isn't that a blessing when you have a showing agent or someone that can show property for you? They can do open houses. They can write and negotiate contracts. Now, in a lot of cases, you can have someone filling in the blanks on a contract or sending it through dot loop for you that's not licensed. But almost every other activity of a licensed agent is going to be a huge help to you, much more than an unlicensed person doing the behind the scenes work. But that goes back to the first slide and me ask you to make a list of what you need. Maybe you just need an unlicensed person. The licensed people, most of us are going to have them on some sort of split with us on our deals. There's a new model. It's called the showing agent. I see this all the time. Can someone show XYZ number of properties for $25 each, $40 each? They're licensed, but they're only doing basically like a Venmo or a Zelle with you to show a couple properties. If you're in a short-term bind, the showing agent model works great. They're simply showing the property. They're not doing anything else. It is like access, okay? You want to be careful with that because access, a showing agent, that's not you. That's not your quality of work. That's not who the client hired. So showing agents are a quick, cheap fix. It's not a permanent fix, I don't believe. You're going to want to put everything in writing, especially if you're a partnership, whether that's a legal partnership or just a partnership that you've decided together. Anything. I don't care whether you are best friends. I'm looking at some of you on this call and you are, you're buddies with each other. And that doesn't matter. Guys, if you are talking, I'm going to have to ask you to mute yourselves. Thank you. It is key to do that. I have some sample agreements here. I have more sample agreements in the coaching blog. Everything needs to be in writing. Rainmakers most often pay for all of the costs of the team's advertising. I've even seen them pay the MLS dues. I don't recommend that, but they're really going to go in on, they're the Rainmaker. It is their responsibility to bring in leads. One of the worst things you can do is say to somebody that's not an exit or an exit and that's newer than you or doesn't have as many resources as you, I'm going to give you leads. And then they come on your team and you don't have enough leads to feed yourself. I can't stand that. I really, really have a problem with that. And that happens at a lot of companies, particularly the multi-level marketing type realtor companies, that everybody wants somebody on their team because they want the money. You can, going back to the last slide, be a mentor and be an attractor. You don't need to build a team if you don't have the leads to give out. You've got to also agree to expectations. Everybody's got to have it in writing what they do. I've got bullet points for mine. Who gets MLS credit on team deals? This is always a fight. I personally do it myself. I want my credit on the MLS. You can create a team in the MLS and then have the MLS team split the credit. A lot of us, though, we are very relationship-based versus transaction-based. So the relationship is with you as the team leader. You're going to probably take the MLS credit, but your team's going to want some money, right? That they're certainly entitled to. I love that you also can make sure if you're using the exit formula properly, take the MLS credit, take the testimonial as you as the team lead, as the Rainmaker, but don't charge these people on their own deals. Are you that great of a coach? Are they just such in need of your help that you're going to charge them? If you are the team lead, you're going to get revenue when they get revenue on your deals, but don't charge them on their own. If you sponsored them into exit, you're going to get the 10% residual bonuses. That is why at most of our competitors, people cycle out of teams very quickly. And most of the time it left such a bad taste in their mouth, they leave the company altogether. We're going to talk about longevity later. Let them keep their own deals. That is their deal. You don't need to get the credit for that. I personally, with Tabron, before Tabron, Victoria, if they do their own deals, they get the MLS credit. I don't want any part of that. I don't want any extra money from them. Okay. That's the way I do it. I feel like that would be a wonderful thing for everybody to kind of mentally agree on. You're an independent contractor, but that is my recommendation. Trial and error. Trust me, I've done it the wrong ways. You got to agree to branding too. I do Team Libert just because, again, I'm a strong personality. I've been around a long time. If you are a couple newer agents, or maybe you're buying leads or you're getting, a referral source, You can be the Real House Finders or something fun. You don't have to have a team based on the team lead. Maybe there are some partnerships forming, or you guys don't want it to be all about one person. That is up to you. You have a wonderful in-house graphic designer, Amanda, that can help you. You've got me as your coach. All of this stuff is here to help you. You need to agree to meet. Tamer and I do a morning check-in. It's like, here's what I'm doing. Here's what he's doing. I share my calendar with him. I don't ask for his because I know what I've asked him to do, but he knows where I am. I do have a personal calendar for like medical appointments, but I actually don't even use it. I have everything in my Google Calendar, which he can see and add and edit, as does Laura. So if you ever wonder where I am, those two know where we are. Those two know where I am more than anybody else. But you need to agree to meet. I think a weekly meeting in person would be great too. Tamer and I have not gotten to that point. We were there at the beginning. We got busy. I have not personally made the time for that. That's been a mistake. I'm working on that. So you need to agree to meet, time block for the weekly meeting, review, even if it's online. I know we're all on Zooms, and some people, the team lead, I've done some classes on expansion. There's team leads that don't even live in this state anymore. I won't mention names, but we love them. Their entire team is here. They're in another state. So you're going to have to do a Zoom weekly meeting. But to go over transactions, you can do it in Wise Agent. If you're in our office, use the CRM. You can track it in a spreadsheet. You can do it in a notebook, I guess, but only one person can see the notebook. I really like Google Sheets, and shared Google Sheets are, one of my favorite things, is they can also be turned into a CSV file if you need to export them into our CRM. A sample agreement's next. So I'm going to show you these guys. And the funny thing is I kept the old agreements because these people were on my team for years, and you're going to know some of these names in the industry. George Cain was on my team for 6 or 7 years. He outgrew me eventually, but not for a long time. And I got to tell you, he was a wonderful EXIT Realty agent for years. Even after he graduated from my team, I was lucky enough to get the residuals from him because we had a wonderful relationship. He was my buyer's agent. So if you look down below here, and again, there's editable versions of these in the coaching blog, I had a lot of the initial contact going through him, scheduling, mapping things, spreadsheet of showing instructions, the MLS sheets. Some of these showings were given to George. I had a big mistake, though, that I gave way too much of the client experience to George. And that was nothing against George. But what happened was people, my own friends, would come to me and they'd be in the car with George 90% of the time. And they were like, well, I thought I picked you. I'm looking online at your testimonials, your transactions. Sometimes you're my friend. And George is doing this whole deal, basically. That was a huge mistake. Do not do that. On the way in, set expectations. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. Sample script for you in a minute. If you notice, if you go down below, I mentioned again, the 45%, I'm doing a 45% split with him, 55-45 within the team. We'll do the math on that in a second. I've got a cool little breakdown for you. I do note that all the MLS credit's going to go to me. He doesn't owe me anything on his own deals. I sponsored him in, so I got all his residuals, that 10% bonus, which was great because I wasn't charging him on his deals. I was getting, in terms of like a split, a lot of people, a lot of teams in other offices, other companies. The poor team member does a deal on their own, their friend, their family member. They start, God forbid, they start prospecting on their own too. And the team lead wants a cut of that. Why would they get that? They didn't do anything for it, right? That's my feeling. So we noted that. And that way I still got the residuals because I sponsored George in. Tony Matar, some of you guys know Tony pretty well. Tony owned his own company for a while. After he left my team, he was on my team for years and years. My original team member actually lives right down the street, and I still coach that person. And they were on my team for almost a decade. I like to keep people around. And I believe that if you treat people well, and I'm by far not perfect, but if you treat people well, they will stay around. Even if the money is sometimes not the best, your business can ebb and flow. If you're helping people, they're going to help you. So on the sell side, the agreement that I have with Tony was that I did the listing appointment. He did the market analysis. I have since taken that back as well. So part of the feedback was a newer agent may not know how to price things the same way, and they certainly don't know how to do a cloud CMA that explains what you're going to do. And the way we do things now, the way I coach you, is to do a cloud CMA. So you walk through all your marketing at the same time you're doing the CMA. You as the team lead should be doing that. But boy, physical showings of the properties, open houses, a lot of the activity behind the scenes, doing the spreadsheet for multiple offers in the current market we're in, price reduction paperwork, feedback to the client. All of that was done by Tony. And so it was well worth it to me to give him 45% of the deal. Now, I know some of you are saying that's a lot to give up. I also made them do a lot. I have rolled that back a little bit. Maybe I would give away less. Maybe you would split things 50-50 because you're going to do much less. But I'm going to give you a warning on this. I have another spreadsheet I'm going to go into at the end. It's actually our 4x4 quadrant, Project X. And in it, I basically tell you, look, if you are going to just refer something out because you're going to do nothing, then let's just say that. A referral agent. You can be a referral agent, or they can be the referral agent on the deal. If you're not going to be present anymore, don't try to keep it in your team, because I did that and it was a big mistake. Got a lot of feedback from that. Communication is key. I love Google Calendar. You know, I love Google period. Google Calendar syncs with all different types of phones. You can share yours with them. We talked about scheduling and editing. I do like a combined email inbox, or not even a combined one, maybe an intake email inbox. Again, we're going to talk next Monday on Money Mondays about lead intakes. What happens on the way in? On the way in, if you're a really busy team lead, you may be too busy to answer that big box. It's great to have a combined or a general email inbox, like an external email, if you will. Tammy Bunnell, CEO of EXIT, amazing human being. She's been the CEO for so many years, such stability here. She has an external email, so her team can filter out the stuff that's actually really important. So speaking of along those lines, Google Voice, if you notice any of my signs, if you go on my LinkedIn, places like that, you'll see a 773 number that you've never actually used. That's my external phone number that's on my signs, etc. Guys, you do not need that as a solo agent. You are not that famous yet, okay? But you will be someday. So Google Voice is great for teams to have that big main external number that the general public's going to know about, okay? And that you can also forward those calls to a cell phone from Google Voice so someone can be on floor time, so to speak, within your team. I like Google Drive. Some of you use Evernote or Dropbox. All the stuff is in there. We also have, by the way, Dotloop now basically acts as its own cloud piece where all the different pieces of your property information can be there, and buyer information, etc. All right, how do we leverage this to maximize the team effect? DISC, D-I-S-C. The DISC test is wonderful. Tony Robbins has a free one. That's a great way to figure out, is this person going to be a great support person? Is it more of a good face person to be out in the public? Excuse me. What are their strengths and weaknesses? Hire your team based on the highest and best use of your time. Also acknowledge your weaknesses. If you're a super high I personality and you are great with people, but you're terrible with paperwork, does that sound like anybody that you may be looking at on the Zoom? It's me. I love people. I hate paperwork. Keep me out of the paperwork. So I made sure that my team members are decent with paperwork, pretty darn good. You need to make sure that on the DISC test, if you are super high or a super D personality, they've got some S or C in them, because that's going to help have that stability on the back end of the team. If you are not that great on the face of it, or you really like the more meat and potatoes stuff, you may be, and by the way, there is no cult of the D or cult of the I personality in this company. There are in some competitors that we have, that some of them I may have used to work for. I believe here, and I have seen in person through the core training, there are every personality types that can win and be an amazing top producer. You just need to leverage your strengths and then also hire to your weaknesses. In other words, don't hire yourself. My original team member that I point that lives right down the block, he and I are both super high I's. We had a lot of fun. You had to really track us down to get our paperwork. It was not necessarily the best hire, but it was a great time. So we were together for a long time as a team. then again, this person will most likely, the first person, be an assistant first, and then you're going to add licensed agents. A lot of the model that I'm seeing now with an exit and that I'm coaching to is that new agent, maybe they're your assistant first, or maybe they work as your assistant as they're kind of getting up and running with the licensing and the budgeting. That's what I did with Tabron. Tabron was a manager for a retail establishment. I walked in, it was a chain. I walked in and I'm like, why is this particular location so much better than the rest of them? And my best friend, Taylor, that some of you guys know, Taylor says, I think it's the manager. That manager, why this place is like the only good one of this chain. I knew that Tabron was going to be amazing as an operations person. I didn't know he's going to be a great realtor. So I hired him as an assistant. He grew into a great realtor, and now he really is on the front end of a lot of things. Buyers, agents, or assistants, either way, scheduling showings. If they're a licensed buyer's agent, they can then be the driver. And by the way, maybe they're an unlicensed agent, or they're unlicensed and they drive you around if you're that busy while you're with the client in the car. There's kind of a movement for that for some people. I personally, I'm not that busy. I will send an Uber, again, leveraging some technology because I don't need a driver. Providing contract assistance is huge. Think about if your buyer's agent sat through the inspection for you, maybe they FaceTimed you in for the 15-minute evaluation. How much time would that save? What if when we're finally attending closings again in person, they attend the closing to get the check, but you do the final walkthrough? That's how Tabron and I work. What is a great, I don't want to disappear. I want FaceTime, but what do I sit at and do nothing for hours? Inspections, that kind of stuff. Open houses, get someone in there, but you have to then make a decision. That money that you're spending, 45% of the gross commission to them, minus their split. We'll talk about splits in a second. Whatever that percentage is that you're giving away, are you just going to go home and hang out then? I mean, that's cool. Maybe this time, remember the whole point of a team is time. Maybe that is to give you time back with family. I got to be honest with you, most of us, it's to give us time, or should be to give us time to do more prospecting. Then we'll do the rest. It's leveraging your time. So that, by the way, also another note, when you're giving things away to them in terms of the FaceTime, don't give away all of it. You also always need to do the negotiations. As a buyer's or seller's agent, I believe that the team lead, the Rainmaker, that is the expectation. And some of you on this call, I think probably have seen other teams work that, the team lead is actually MIA. I don't like that model. None of us are making $1 million a year GCI. Well, few people are close. But even if you are, where does that say, why are you even on the team? You should just refer everything out and charge a referral fee because you're not doing anything. The team lead, I believe I need to do the negotiations, the communication with the other agent, because that is what I am supposed to be there to do. But guess what? That team member can be an amazing appointment setter. One of the best dollar per dollar value is when Tabron goes to my list of buyers. It's in my Wise agent. It's on the spreadsheet. Goes to the list of buyers and says, hey, checking in. How's the search going? How's Zenlist? I saw you pick some stuff out in the app or not. I saw you pick nothing out in the app. Nick's got some time this weekend. We've got some time this weekend. Whatever you want to do, when are you available? Same way with sellers. Hey, did you get the CMA? Did you get the analysis? You ready for photos? That is such a key use of a buyer's agent. Listing agents, co-listers, again, doing showings, daily marketing needs, open houses, providing feedback to the sellers, CMA and contract assistants, maybe pulling comps for the CMA, but again, they're not doing the listing presentation. The team lead does the negotiations always. Doesn't mean that Tabron can't put the spreadsheet together for me if we're in multiple offers, but I'm talking to the seller because that's what they hired my expertise as a Rainmaker. Again, appointment setting. Need a market analysis? What day is and time is best suited for you? That's a great use of your team member, your seller side team member. And by the way, I use Tabron for both. So for those of us that are not huge transaction number of units, we're going to probably use the same person for both until we grow bigger than that, if we want to grow bigger than that. So what does it cost? I talked about my team members are on a 55-45 split in the past. We split the company fees proportionately. We're going to talk about that in a second. Maybe you start them off lower and you give them a raise upon proving themselves. That's up to you. You're an independent contractor. It's your business. I respect that. I'm going to tell you, if you're giving them pennies, you're going to get penny service. If you sponsor your own team members into exit, you're getting 10% of what you're giving them. So it's like you're getting some of that back anyway. You don't need to be super cheap. And by the way, remember, if you're not going to do a huge amount of volume, you don't want to give these percentage splits away, just mentor. You don't need to have a sales team. You can be a mentor of people, and you don't have to. There's some agents at exit that aren't selling real estate at all anymore. Again, we use Mike as an example. There are other people. Marky Lemons is not selling real estate. She's referring it out through her team. So you can mentor. That is a great, pun intended, exit strategy for those of us that are getting a little bit older, a little bit tired in terms of the number of years we've been doing this. I speak for myself, where I'm like, wow, another weekend of 8,000 buyer appointments or 8,000 CMAs to do. Boy, it's nice out. I'd really like a break. Consider it's bigger than you. That's why exit is here. You are doing a service by mentoring people. Is it on your own sales, or is it just in general building a team? Think about that. So this example below, this $10,000 gross commission, it's just a walking you through. Remember, at a base split, remember our splits are better than this, but our base split, you're going to take part of the transaction fee and the 55. So if you're splitting the deal with your team member, you're going to split proportionately any fees to exit. So international in terms of transaction fees, you will be, as a team lead, on whatever split you are with us. And a lot of you have capped out the big people. So, whatever you're doing, that's your split. The team member split, that's their split. So if they're new, they're probably at a 70-30 for their first 10 deals. But that is all the math on that I wanted to show you. Transaction coordinators, I want to touch on it quickly. I'm not a particular fan. And here's why. I feel like people race to this option, and yet they're not really ready for it. And the thing is it doesn't do anything about showing. So there's a lot of virtual companies out there that can help you on the back end. But as a newer agent, I want you to do your own transaction coordination because you need to learn it. Also, it does not help you show homes. It doesn't help you show your listings. It doesn't help you with open houses. These people are behind the scenes. So I'm not a big fan. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. There is a model out there that the transaction coordinator gets 25%. Maybe they get a fee per deal if they're virtual, that you pay them separately. That's all. I'm just going to lay it out there. That's an option for you. Let's do some cautionary tips. I want you to introduce your team member in the first point of contact: email, text, call, Facebook message. I don't care where it is. Myself and my team member, Tabrin, are looking forward to working with you. If you start interacting with them, and no matter whether it's a stranger or a friend, and you drop the bomb that you've got a team member 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months into this, they're gonna be like, what? You're pawning me off on someone. I have done it and it doesn't work. People say, you're pawning me off on someone. I didn't know you had a team. I thought I was gonna work with you. Bring it up in the beginning, even if you don't know how much you're gonna necessarily need that team member. Don't disappear. I don't need to be on my soapbox too much longer on that, but don't disappear. I want to be CC'd on every email, even if it's super annoying, that goes on in this transaction. Even if it's a transaction coordinator, the worst thing you can do is not know what's going on in your deals. I do have a hard time personally remembering who the attorney is, who the lender is sometimes on a deal. It should all be in dot loop, because everybody's in dot loop on your transaction, right? Including the lender, including the home inspector. I want everybody there. I want all the documents there. That's what my team is there to help me with. So then that way, I also know what the heck's up on the deal, and I have all the paperwork at the ready right on my phone. That's why I paid for dot loop premium for each one of you. If you're not going to do any of the work, refer the business out and collect a referral fee. All right. Survey your clients. I get excellent feedback on Tabor. People love Tabor. I don't even know if he's on here tonight. I think he's probably doing something for me or taking a break from me, running away. But I get wonderful feedback when I survey my clients and do the testimonials on him. Can't say that about every team member I've had. There was one that I had that is no longer, and was long ago, before most of you on this call were here, someone just did not work out. And I took too long to get the surveys out. I wasn't surveying them during the deal. I wasn't talking enough to my own clients. And people said later, they're like, that person was awful. And it was not great for my reputation. So remember, if you're a Rainmaker, your reputation is on the line when that team member is representing you. We talked about don't charge your team members on their own deals. If you sponsor them, you're already getting 10% bonuses. Longevity is key. If you do this right, now I would love to think that Tabor's going to be on my team forever. That is probably not realistic. If they outgrow you or they graduate from the team, as I call it, they should be alumni of your team, but not alumni of EXIT. You want them to stay at EXIT. There are some really nasty team leaders out there at every brokerage that run people out. At EXIT, you would be an idiot to do that, because if you sponsored them in, you're getting their sponsorship. You should want them to grow. You should want them to outgrow you, because you get 10% of what they do, up to $10,000 a year. So what if you had people constantly learning from you, and maybe they weren't on your team forever? Maybe you never have a team. Think of the money you could make and the influence and the impact you could have on our industry. It is bigger than you. And that is why I am at EXIT. And that's why a lot of you are at EXIT too. Steve Colano is here. He was at Remax before this. What's better than 100%? Even though they don't give you 100% anymore, they have fees there. More than 100%. If you are not working the systems to get more than 100% out of this company, I want you to coach with me on why. And we're going to talk about this in a second. Let's get to that screen. Where to find the team members. All right. How to attract realtors to EXIT, period. Maybe someday Mike Schulte will give you a class on this, because he's better at this than me. But because I do not recruit. I don't like that word anyway. I like the word attract. But you have some very special tools at this EXIT, and I want to review those tools with you. Social media is massive. A lot of you that have used social media correctly, you brought people on board accidentally. You attract people. You're not recruiting, you're attracting. Social media is massive for that. Share our events, share our technology, share your joy. Share your joy. If we go out for First Fridays and have fun, casino night, that was a blast 2 months ago. The bar we went to downtown, the charity events we do, that stuff is cool. A lot of our competitors aren't doing that, and they're definitely not doing the monthly consumer events we're doing. Where else? Industry events and associations. Not this Wednesday, because we have a lunch and learn already, but next Wednesday, we have another lunch and learn Natasha Murphy's throwing for us about WCR. We are back in person, guys, not only at our office, but in the industry. YPN, WCR, your local association events. It's great to go out and rub elbows. You are not going to get deals from it 99% of the time, but you could get people wanting to come to EXIT. They're not going to want to come today, maybe. But you know what? I want to be your next EXIT. Haha, pun intended. I want to be in your EXIT strategy if where you are at doesn't work out. And by the way, at a lot of our competitors, particularly the publicly owned ones, where they're like, oh yeah, you could buy stock. The stock's down 60%. Who wants that crap? These people are on splits that are not great. We're going to talk about that in a second. They've got a bunch of fees. They're not getting any residuals. You need to be aware. They don't want to be sold on EXIT, but they want an EXIT strategy, and we're providing it. So invite realtor friends to our content and podcast. This is a great way to, even if, again, you don't need a team member, don't you want people at EXIT? Invite realtor friends to our content, Money Mondays, my YouTube channel, our podcast, all that different stuff. It's right on my team website, which I'm going to give you the information on that in a second. I'm almost done, guys, because I know that we're right on time, I think. I talked a lot tonight. We will have time for Q&A at the end. Our value proposition, the EXIT formula from corporate, 10-7-5 residual bonuses, 10% residual bonuses while you're an active agent, 7% if you retire but you're still alive. We hope you're alive. And God forbid you do pass away, but we all will eventually. 5% goes to your beneficiary. That is huge, by the way. I am planning on probably doing that to some sort of charity or like a trust. That can be really impactful on the world. And some of us that have been doing this a long time, have been here a while, that's a lot of money that in perpetuity would go to somebody. So 10-7-5 is the corporate residual bonuses. At some EXITs, they make you 7% is even if you're part-time. I don't believe in that. You get 10% on everyone as long as you are here, even if you're not selling a lot of real estate. 10-7-5. Our office splits are 10 cap 85. You like I made it rhyme? Some of you were laughing at me the other day for that, but it does make it easier. 70% is the base split at all exits. After your first 10 deals here, whether it's sales, leasing, or a combination of both, or 10 career deals. So if you're getting somebody from another company that's been there forever and over time has done 10 deals, or they did it in 2 weeks, or however long it takes you to get to 10 career deals, you will go get a 10% spot, 10% raise to 80% base commission here. Never goes down. Once you cap, goal is to get you to cap next. 10, then cap. Once you cap and go to 100% once, we hope you do it every year, but once, you then go to an 85% split for the next year and every year after that. So guys, just cap once. I mean, I'd love you to cap every year, but if you could just cap once, those of you guys that are newer at this, you're automatically getting a raise to 85%. So it's a permanent split raise. I have never charged a dime, and I have neither to you or to the consumer beyond the commission that's done. That's it. Never. I don't like those charges, those fees. I'm not a bill collector, and I will never be. And when I say me, I mean me, because this is the buck stops with me. I take full responsibility for that. Then remember, if they're not on a great split, that's the 10 cap 85. Coaching and events, though, a lot of agents, I have agents that Mike and I talk to that it's almost like they forgot about this, they ask about the split because they need coaching, they need tools, they need events, they need content, they need life, and they're not making enough money. So the split is irrelevant to them because they're not making enough, period. If their production isn't what it could be, that's how we get people from 100% companies, guys. I really, I get the 100% companies like, well, I'm not making that much money, so I need as much out of every deal. Well, why not come to Exit and get more deals? Get more deals. Use the tools, CRM, the apps, the networking, the marketing, all that stuff. If they're not getting it, or if they're paying for it and their split's not great, people are paying for a lot of stuff they shouldn't be. Again, here you don't pay for anything ever. So that is the team's entire presentation. Please make it fun. I do some cute branding and stuff with my team. We have a lot of fun with the events. Most of the events now, that slide is actually old because most of the events I do for the whole office because it's fun for us to do it together, but you can do your own individualized events. If you need anything related to getting people into Money Mondays, anything like that, you just text Libert to 85377. Again, Libert to 85377. That gives you the entire little link tree of all the different links, how to schedule time with me. Works for you guys too, obviously, if you're at our office and are coaching with me. So long-winded evening of content. I do want to open it up for questions. Please do go ahead, and I'm going to stop my screen share, see who's got some questions for us. Okay. Got it. We had a question in the chat. There's a 10, the cap on residuals. It's per agent. Think of the math, guys. You've got at 100, when they hit 100,000 GCI, it goes to 100%. So there is no more residual for the year. But here's the other. So it's $10,000 per agent per year, per agent that you sponsor in. So for example, I've got, I think, like 30 something agents currently that I've sponsored in the company. I made well into the six figures last year in residuals, and that's not to brag, it's to validate. And there's some other Project X coachings where I went real deep into the validation where I'm like, look, here's some 1099 for you. It is real money. So you could do great things with that over time. You could do amazing things with that over time. And it's not just here locally. It is easiest for us to bring people together here because of the tools and the splits. This is not the standard Exit package. This is Exit on steroids. It's Project X. But every Exit office has great value to it. So you can bring people in anywhere within the Exit system. There's 600 offices across the US and Canada, and that number is growing. This company is really, really growing. It's the technology is amazing. And then our little stack on top of that just sweetens the pot. What other questions do you guys have? I want to make one more note, and that is, keep in mind that I am your partner and you are my partner in this. And what I mean by that is, once you get to an 85% split because you've capped at least once, and then you're bringing people in, you know, whoever sponsored you in is getting 10% of what you do, and I'm getting 5% to you capped, and then you're getting 10% residuals on whoever you brought in. I want more people to get more than 100% commission because they're the only company that can do it. I don't care. Those multi-level companies, to me, everybody underneath you has got to be as good at you at attracting. And you know what? Not a lot of people are doing it. Not a lot of people get it. So when I was at the multi-level profit share company, I won't mention the name. You can go on my LinkedIn if you don't know my personal story. It was a shrub because I did a lot of the work. Nobody else underneath me did. And it was like, God, I can't live on pennies. So it just, I don't like that. I don't like that stuff. I like 10%, one level. You know who you got the check from. You know who to talk to and help mentor and coach. And, you know, this company's doing nothing but great stuff. So thank you guys for being here. Do you have questions besides the one that was in the chat? Going once, going twice. Well, you know what? Third time's the charm. I am off for the evening then. I'm going to go enjoy the weather. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, no, I really didn't have a question. I was just going to say thank you once you finish talking.
Well, I've never done talking, Faith. I know you're new to us. I never shut up. Well, thank you. And by the way, congratulations on everything you and Trinell are doing to build your team. I hope this was good content for you tonight. And for everybody, not just Faith, but everybody, this is sometimes a second conversation gets triggered by it where you want a personal session on this. You know how to get a hold of me, guys. Just schedule a one-on-one. I've got some appointments left open this week and next. So thank you guys very much for being here. You have a great night. This will be up on YouTube shortly. And go ahead and get everybody registered for next Monday night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.